episode 8, Buffone, I don't know. Anyway, it's your boy Icon with a DC TV review going over some Harley Quinn. And we finally got, I don't know what's happening on the show right now, but we finally got answers to what's happening with the apocalypse. So apparently, Lex Luthor came up with some bright idea about thickening the ozone layer, but he built a laser that was too short and it couldn't reach the ozone. So, and it was weird because Lex Luthor is supposed to be one of the most brightest minds on the planet, but he needed his scientists to tell him the difference between like meters and feet. But anyway, so he ends up going back to Earth and telling Volcana he wanted Volcana to raise like some volcanoes all over the world to increase the heat of the Earth's ozone to push it up 10 feet so his laser could then work. Because again, his whole purpose is trying to thicken the ozone because in his mind he said, you know, the ozone layer is dying or whatever, like we're losing the ozone. So Lex Luthor came up with a way to strengthen the ozone, but he needs to test it. So he goes down to the Legion of Doom. He tries to get Volcana to help him thicken the ozone. Nora Free shows up and then she's like, no, without Ivy, I ain't letting you do shit. Her and Lex get into some shit. Lex ends up trapping them into the Legion of Doom, and he says that he's not going to let them out unless they give up Volcana. They fight to try to get out of the thing. They can't get out. King Shark shows up. He tries to hack it. It doesn't work. And then finally, they end up basically causing their own explosion because they decided, because the thing is, they knew that Lex wanted to cause the explosion, but they didn't know the extent as to why. But since they were trapped inside the Legion of Doom, they ended up putting all the aerosol cans, all the explosives, all the explosive things that they could find. They threw it down an elevator shaft. Volcana used her power to ignite it, and it caused an explosion that blew a hole in the Legion of Doom so all of them can escape. And then after they escaped, Lex got tight because he was just like, oh, you foiled my plans. But then the scientist friend of his who was on the moon, he was like, hey, Mr. Luthor, that explosion actually just pushed up the ozone layer 10 feet. So he said, now we can use the ray. So he was like, all right, go ahead, push the button, bitch. He presses the button. It thickens the ozone layer. And because the ozone layer got thickened, it got super thick. It wasn't even like he patched a couple of holes, like the sky turned red. Like, you know, like that's how bad it was. And then he ended up actually making it worse because he drowned out the sun. And now plants are dying, crops are dying, and everybody thinks they're dying. They're going to die. So everybody starts going crazy. And they're just like, oh, Lex Luthor is trying to take his revenge on the world, when in fact he just wanted to do a good deed and strengthen the ozone. During all this foolishness, for some reason, Bane went to Italy to try to learn how to make pasta, because that whole thing about him trying to fix the pasta maker for Nora Freeze, that shit was like 4 episodes ago. I forgot all about that. Like the fact that he left to try to fix the handle that she told him, we're episode 8. It was like episode 4 where she asked him to do that, and like we're just now getting to that. So he goes to Italy. He learns how to make pasta from the greatest pasta maker of all time. And then after that, he comes back to Gotham. And then when he comes back to Gotham and sees the apocalypse, taking place, he goes over to Nora and he's like, Nora, I've done it. I've created the greatest pasta. And then she was like, bitch, I had pasta for lunch. I don't want that shit. But she's like, you can break this window for me and steal that umbrella. And of course, like Bane is big time simping. So he broke the mirror, and then she got the umbrella. That's when Harley and Ivy showed up because they missed the whole time period when Lex actually, you know, strengthened the ozone. They're at the point now where the ozone thing has already been thickened and there's nothing that they can do to change it, and everybody's looting and rioting. They couldn't go back in time further to try to prevent all this from happening because King Shark's dumbass blew up the time spear, and now they're stuck, you know, like in the apocalyptic future. And then the funny thing at the end, Superman showed up because he was trying to like stop the fighting. He was trying to like stop the chaos and the rioting. But because of the ozone layer is so thick and the sunlight can't get through, he's losing his power. So now Superman doesn't have any power. And everybody thinks that Lex did this purposely just so he can take down Superman. And I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing I've heard, because first of all, if it was that easy to take down Superman, Lex would have thought of that shit a long time ago. So, you know, but apparently Superman's powers are weak. I have no idea what Harley and Ivy's purpose is in all this. I don't know what they're going to do now because they can't go back in time. That what happened to Harley seeing a double version of herself? Like, have we abandoned the Nightwing death? Like, where does this all tie in? Where's Barbara? I don't know what's going on, but that's how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. So I'm confused. You know, it's not like it's not like it was a bad episode, because like I enjoyed it. I still laughed. I still thought it was funny, but there are so many storylines that have been dropped here because again, Nightwing's death. Batgirl being the sole Bat survivor, Harley even being a member of the Bat team. You know, the whole thing about Ivy supposedly being the CEO of the Legion of Doom. Like, there are so many storylines that happened that just got completely dropped. Like the Joker supposedly coming out of a life of crime. It's just like, okay, have we abandoned all this? And now we're just talking about, you know, like the apocalypse happening. But I have faith that in episode 10, in the finale, the writers will come through and they'll piece all this stuff together and lives will be saved, because they got to use time travel at some point. So we just got to wait for that and see how it all unfolds. So check out my other reviews. Like, let me know what the hell you think is going on this show. Like, what do you think? Where do you think things go from here? And we'll continue to talk about it. Check out my reviews, because the season finale of My Adventures of Superman is on the channel. Like, that's going to be up on the channel soon. I put up, you know, my review for Heart of Stone on the channel. And of course, we got Harley Quinn, and because we 2 more episodes to go. And as we count down the 2 more episodes, we'll see what else there is to review. Comic-Con is coming, and I got my tickets for Comic-Con. So we'll see what happens as we progress forward. So that was it, guys. So thank you for tuning in. So until next week for some Harley Quinn action, when we find out what the hell is happening, take care, and I'm out this. Bitch.